Hi guys, so a quick one from me today is going to be a top 5 tips for studying biology at AS or A level, and I'm sure that you'll probably find them useful if you study GCSE as well. Biology gave me quite a lot of grief at AS and A2, but I had kind of like a eureka moment where I learned how to properly revise for biology, and then it made things so much better and my grades literally went up by probably about 20%. But I'm going to go through my top 5 tips so that hopefully I can give you your eureka moment sooner than I got mine. So tip number 1, avoid the knowledge splurge. This means that when you open that paper and you see that topic or that keyword that you know and you revised and you have all of the knowledge up here about, don't just go, right, I'm just going to write everything I can, everything I know about this, because there have been so many times, especially on like 3 and 4 mark questions, where I turn the page and it's like, oh, xylem, and I go, right, okay, bam, 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 bam. You know, I talk about cohesion tension, talk about hydrogen bonding between water molecules, root hair cells, evaporation from the stomata, all of this blah 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 blah. But what it could actually be asking you about is the structure of a xylem, or the effects of rate of transpiration through the xylem, or so on and so forth. And so it's really, really important that you don't just see that keyword or that topic and think, I know all about this, and write something that's completely irrelevant, because you'll have wasted your time and you won't actually get many marks from their mark scheme. So number 2, right, state the obvious. Now, it took me so long to understand how to get marks in biology, and it was such a frustrating process because I was thinking like, how can I be coming out with like 50% in these papers or less? Like, how is that possible? Because I know that I know more about biology. Like, I've learned more than half of the course content, and I'm sure you'll have had the same experiences. You look down and you think, yes, I knew exactly what that meant, but I just skipped that bit because I thought that was obvious. You know, with things like describing graphs or stating trends and something like that, nothing is too obvious. Because if you miss it out, that is marks that you're missing out of. Obviously, don't go into so much depth that you run out of time, but try, you know, you have still time before, you know, the first and second papers to get in the past paper practice. You can balance the time so that you can go into those more obvious statements, but also strike it so that you're not running out of time at the end. If you're one of those people, those lucky buggers that get loads of extra time at the end of the paper because they finish super quickly, then I'm really, really jealous of you, because I am always like at the end. But you know, if you're one of those people, at least you can spend a bit more time writing those obvious statements, especially when there is data involved. Right, number 3, it sounds really obvious, but learn the mark scheme. So many people revise from CGP guides and from the textbook and from, you know, like class notes, and you know what, there is nothing wrong with fine-tuning your understanding from those resources, but in the end you could write the exact same paragraph from the CGP guide into an answer and not get the marks, or not get the full marks. And this is something that is really frustrating, because so many people were like, what? Why don't you use the CGP guides for revision or whatever? And I do have the CGP guides and I use them as like a reference point, but for revision I never really use them. I just do papers, I do topic questions, I do God knows what, like any materials that you can get your hands on, or practice exercises that you can do them, because they are the things that are going to improve your grade. Learn the mark scheme, learn the keywords that they use. The way that I do this, and I wish I had an example here for you, but I don't, I'm sorry. I do a paper, and in a folder I have A4 sheets that have different areas of the specification on, and on those I go through, and every time I do a paper I take out the main topics. Obviously it's a bit harder with data questions and things like that, but pick those topics up. I go and I find the corresponding mind map, and I add any words or keywords or phrases that I haven't got already, or that are that are in the mark scheme. So then what you end up with is a revision resource that you can make notes from, do whatever you would do from a CGP guide or a textbook, but you're using it with the mark scheme's words, and that is what's going to make your grade go up. You know, you could get a 6 marker on you know, like control of heart rate or something like that, and because you will have made those mind maps, in here there's a link to all of those keywords that the exam board are going to use in their mark scheme, and so you're just picking up marks, you just tick them off, tick them off, tick them off. Right, number 4, brush up on the few practical techniques that you actually need to know. Now, any of you that do chemistry out there will completely relate, because there are 12 required practicals in both chemistry and biology, but the difficulty and the complexity of the practical techniques that you need for chemistry and biology are very different. Mashing up some spinach leaves is much easier than performing a recrystallization reaction. Realistically, there aren't that many practical techniques that are going to come up again and again. Things like microscopy, things like self-fractionation, and oh god, now you're testing me. But those kinds of things that are going to come up again and again, that could come up in any of your papers, they are the things that are really important to just remember, because they have a set, you know, thing that will always be the same. It's always going to be the same in the mark scheme, so just learn them. So my 5th and final tip before I go into some just general biology advice is to learn the statistical tests. Now, there is an AQA practical booklet. I'm sure there's the same for other exam boards, but find out from your specification, from your teachers, from whatever resources you have, find out what statistical tests you are required to know for your exams. You learn them, you learn when to use them, and then hopefully when if or when it comes up in your exam, you know exactly which statistical test you would use and why. Make sure you're okay with p-values as well, because that is an easy mark to get. If you see p-value less than whatever, you work out what percentage that would be, and you say there is a probability that the result is due to chance. If it's less than 5%, usually you're going to be saying that that's reliable, and then you want to talk about sample sizes or things like that. So I'm going to move on to a bit of kind of like general and personal biology advice, so things like resources, all of that malarkey. PXSbiology, and I'll leave the link below in the description box, is probably the best site for biology, like resources, worksheets, whatever. They have the notes, the gap fills that go with those notes, and then they have sets of exam questions. I'm not sure how many exam boards they have it for, but I know that AQA is definitely covered. And these are really helpful, because what I do is I make an Excel spreadsheet, and I have like try 1, try 2, try 3, and then all the different topics, and then I write in every time I do one the percentage that I get. I work my way down, and then do another second try of all of them, and then do a third try if you have time, and then by this point you should see, with some revision in between, that your grades goes from a low percentage to the high percentage, and then you can recognise when you're doing your last ditch attempt at revision before exams, you know exactly which ones to target. That's going to save you so much time and make your revision so much more efficient. And that is all revision is. It's about recognising and accepting that you're bad at some things and better at other things, and knowing that unfortunately you can't do the things that you're good at, you just have to do the things that you're rubbish at. But then you get better at them and you get a better grade, so you know it's not a bad trade-off really. Make sure you target in the areas that you need to, rather than just tackling all of it head on. So yeah, that is it from me really. If you have any questions, if you want any tips, please just message me. I will also leave like my Instagram down below as well, and you can ask me questions on there, or you can ask me questions in the comments, and I will try and get back to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe as per usual. It would be really appreciated. I'm trying to crack, you know, the big 100 or whatever, but you know, small steps. And I just really hope that it helps people. and that's what my channel's all about. So see you soon. Hopefully I'll be posting a lot more in summer because I'll have so much more time. But yeah, good luck with exams, guys. I know that you're going to do great, and